Continually delighted by seeing what happens when online fascists suddenly have to deal with real people. Stripe disabled my account. This is Libs of TikTok. For those of you who don't know, Libs of TikTok is a reactionary, psychopathic, transphobic right-wing account. Basically spends all of their waking hours on trans people. Not a single trans person is safe. Stripe disabled my account. They're also holding on to my funds and won't release them. I called and emailed, and they aren't giving me a straight answer. This has been going on for a month. Nobody has been able to subscribe to my newsletter, and my funds are frozen. At Elon Musk, you sure you want to partner with Stripe for X payouts? They will just disable accounts if they don't like your views. Doesn't seem aligned with your free speech objectives. Elon Musk looking into it. Yeah, dude, if you're like a anti-trans terrorist, it seems like payment processors should definitely not want to be a part of that. Perfectly valid for payment processors to be like, yeah, we're not going to contribute to the anti-trans terrorism that you are creating. But of course, having said that, I'm certain that if Elon Musk looked into it, he does have a lot of sway, and he probably fixed it. That's the other side of this. It did get fixed. You got our funds. Oh, great. It's cool to give such awesome power to weird fascist adjacent billionaires, and it's really cool when the amount of awesome power that they have is used for things like that. It's great. If you're Libs of TikTok, you get appointed to oversee schools in Oklahoma, and then you get things like this. A lawmaker is accusing the Education Board and Libs of TikTok of having blood on their hands over Nex Benedict's death. I am humiliated and embarrassed for everyone who showed up today, Sean Cummings told the Oklahoma State Education after Nex Benedict's death. For those of you who don't know, Sean Cummings, the vice mayor of the Village, a suburb of Oklahoma City, told members of the Oklahoma State Board of Education at a Thursday hearing that they had emboldened bullying and hatred towards the LGBTQ community, and that discourse may have led to Nex's death. Nex Benedict was a non-binary student who died after Oklahoma bathroom assault and was regarded as a shining light. Nex Benedict never backed down from bullies, even as Oklahoma lawmakers and far-right influencers fostered a climate of hate towards the LGBTQ community. Their mother, Sue Benedict, told Bevan Hurley she wants Nex's light to keep shining for everyone. The death of a non-binary Oklahoma student, Nex Benedict, after they were allegedly beaten up by 3 older kids in a school bathroom, has led to an outpouring of grief and anger from their family and the LGBTQ community. On the 7th of February, Nex suffered severe head injuries during a physical altercation in a bathroom at Owasso High School, according to the Owasso Police Department. The problem is, the Owasso Police Department also is saying that Nex's death was not due to the severe head wounds that they had received, for the record. Wonderful stuff. As police continued Thursday to probe the death of an Oklahoma teen who died a day after being involved in a fight that broke out in a high school bathroom, authorities announced a preliminary autopsy showed that student's death was not a result of trauma. The death of Nex Benedict, 16, has prompted widespread attention and nationwide calls for schools to better protect students who may be bullied because of their gender and sexual identities. Nex, a sophomore at Owasso High School, used they, them, and he, him pronouns and identified as gender expansive, an umbrella term that describes people whose gender identity expands beyond traditional gender norms, according to the National Institutes of Health. Nex had previously been bullied because of their gender identity, Friends of Nex told an advocacy group. Authorities are investigating what led up to the fight and whether Nex was targeted because of their gender identity. A police spokesperson, Nick Boatman, told NBC News investigators have reviewed a video that shows Nex before and after the fight and will release it at some point, the outlet reported. While the Owasso Police Department said Wednesday that Nex's death was not the result of injuries from a fight, its statement added that the findings were preliminary and the investigations by the medical examiner's office and the police department remain underway. The police statement provided no additional details, but said an official autopsy would later be released. At this time, any further comments on the cause of death are currently pending until toxicology results and other ancillary testing results are received, the police statement said. The official autopsy report will be available at a later date. I fear the angle from the police department will be that this person committed suicide. That's why they're looking into the toxicology report, or may have overdosed, is what they will say. Even if that is the case, which is not, as far as we know, I feel like perhaps getting beaten up in a bathroom by older bullies has something to do with that. Perhaps is a contributing factor, if that is even the case. Nex's family says, though many questions remain unanswered, the facts of the case so far are troubling. They plan to conduct an independent investigation, relatives confirmed in a statement issued Wednesday. They also urged officials to hold those responsible to account and ensure it never happens again. While at the Owasso High School, Nex was attacked and assaulted in a bathroom by a group of other students, the family said in a statement issued by its attorney. A day later, the Benedict's beautiful child lost their life. A search warrant filed in the Tulsa County courts Wednesday, obtained by the Oklahoman, part of the USA Today network, shed new light on Nex's death and the investigation, including noting that a detective asked a judge for permission to look for traces of blood and other evidence at Owasso High School. Penny Hamrick, an Owasso police detective, wrote in the search warrant that officers suspected of foul play involved and need to initiate an in-depth investigation into the death. According to the warrant, police were called to an Owasso hospital shortly after 3:30 p.m. on February 7 in response to a report that Nex had been injured in a fight at school. Sue Benedict, Nex's mother, wanted to report the assault and asked police to talk with school administrators about what happened. She did not ask officers to pursue charges against the other students at the time, Hamrick wrote. Nex was later discharged from the hospital, but shortly before 3 p.m. the next day, Benedict called 911 to report Nex was experiencing medical issues, including shallow breathing. She told the 911 operator about the altercation at school and said that Nex had hit their head on the bathroom floor, Hamrick wrote. Emergency medical crews performed CPR on Nex and drove them to a Tulsa hospital, where they were pronounced dead around 3:30 p.m. In the search warrant, Hamrick said police may look through school records, including photographs, documents, and attendance data. Investigators have previously said they plan to spend several days interviewing students and teachers. FBI and Homeland Security investigate threat against school staffers. Since Nex's death, a barrage of threats have been made against the Owasso School District, and at least one credible threat is being investigated in conjunction with the FBI and the DHS. Boatman said the message that prompted federal agencies to join the investigation included a specific threat of violence against a specific individual. Boatman declined to name the person or disclose any other details about the content of the message. Oh, of course, 3 weeks prior to this, Libs of TikTok founder was brought in to the Oklahoma School Board. Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters' decision to appoint Libs of TikTok creator Chaya Raichik to the Oklahoma State Department of Education Library Media Advisory Committee is a particularly egregious example of elected officials trying to divert the public's attention away from real issues to stoke division, national notoriety. This article was written by Representative Mickey Dollins, a minority whip for the Oklahoma House of Representatives, by the way. Like, this person's only qualification for why they were appointed to this position is that they are deeply and unimaginably transphobic. Does not live in Oklahoma. She has notoriously singled out and doxed teachers and medical professionals and hospitals with false information, smears, propaganda to her gigantic audience of psychopathic transphobes. It's not an accident that any time she singles out a person as like a queer teacher or whatever and highlights them, that person gets a litany of death threats. This is the closest you can get to an out and about terrorist in the United States of America, a domestic terrorist. And Oklahoma basically put this person, who right here is celebrating their accomplishments. When Libs of TikTok posts, threats increasingly follow. I get that you have to deny what is essentially the main function of your platform for legal reasons, but you should at least change your profile pic first. The media is blaming me for a non-binary student being killed at a school because 2 years ago I happened to post a TikTok from a teacher in that school. The victim was a sophomore. She misgenders the victim. The victim was a sophomore. She wasn't even attending school when I posted the TikTok. Of course, this psycho does that post-mortem as well. I mean, it's a two-faced coin. She also receives threats. The only problem is the mass following she has. That's insane. What do you mean it's a two-faced coin? One person is receiving threats, I guess, because they are literally trying to actively kill trans people. What do you mean? What both sides is this? I receive death threats on a regular basis. Why do I receive it? Because I'm against people like this. Do you think that is the same?
Chaya Raichik reposted a video from Tyler Wren, an 8th grade teacher in Owasso, Oklahoma, in April 2022. In the video, Tyler stated, "If your parents don't accept you for who you are, I'm your parents now. I'm proud of you. Drink some water. I love you." This simple reposted video garnered the attention of Jackson Laymeyer, the Christian nationalist pastor of Sheridan Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who has said Alex Jones did nothing wrong, who was also at the time a candidate for one of Oklahoma's Senate seats. The preacher accused the teacher of being a predator. After public outcry, the teacher resigned, though Chaya Raichik later posted in a deleted tweet that the teacher was fired after complaints of grooming. It's been nearly 2 years since the incident, and so far not one shred of evidence has been presented to support her claim. In fact, a number of parents have come forward in support of Wren, calling him a safe haven for LGBT students.
That is how this works. Chaya does this all the time. This reporter definitely has something on him or is getting paid. What are you talking about? This reporter is like being sarcastic. Like, do you not understand? He's describing all of the facts of the matter. This TikToker is describing all the facts of the matter without a shadow of doubt that, like, Chaya Raichik is responsible for stochastic terror.
August of 2023, Chaya Raichik shared an edited version of a video in which a Tulsa, Oklahoma school librarian satirically said she was pushing her woke agenda, which was, according to the video and its caption, which was edited out when Chaya Raichik reposted the video, to, quote, "teach kids to love books and be kind." This video was reposted by Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Ryan Walters. After the video was shared, both the elementary school and the librarian's home received ongoing bomb threats for 6 consecutive days, with accompanying letters to the media threatening to bomb.
That very same guy put Chaya Raichik in a position of power in the Oklahoma Education Board, by the way.
Every school in the Union District unless the schools stopped pushing this woke ideology. Once again, the woke ideology being pushed.
The problem with like transphobia is that it is like particularly insane. There's a lot of white supremacy that goes around in this country. Transphobia, on the other hand, is a self-selecting group of individuals that are genuinely interested in acting out their desires. The only other thing I've ever seen is like the anti-abortion freaks go above and beyond as far as like acting out their desires. And the reality is that when left unchecked, because absolutely no one is saying we have to put a stop to this, we have to like issue punishments for those who egg this on, people have gotten way more comfortable. What Chaya Raichik is doing is basically a more streamlined, more normalized approach of what Charles Manson used to do. She is as responsible for all of the victims of anti-trans violence as Charles Manson was responsible for the murders. You don't have to do it yourself. You're egging it on. You're deliberately egging it on, and you're recognizing that you're deliberately egging it on. And the fact that Elon Musk is like defending her and making sure that her payments are restored, for example, there is no deplatforming that will ever occur.
Just last month in January 2024, that same Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters was thrilled to announce that Chaya Raichik, who lives in Brooklyn, New York, which is not in Oklahoma, and whose background is working as a real estate agent, which is not in education or library science or early childhood development, was appointed to the Education Department's Library Media Advisory Committee in Oklahoma, where she does not live nor do any of her children attend school.
Yeah, her only qualifications for the job is that she is deeply transphobic. That's it. And also a coward that blocked me a long time ago.